So I'm thinking about this right now. The situation of the condition. The you know, I often think about these dark spaces that everybody we share in common because um, it's always important to recognize that you will always have dark spaces and understanding unless God opens those blind spaces up and allows you to understand. But being that a lot of times we learn, from many times from experience what we know, what we see in the world, what we experience and what we were taught in school, and then we can read books and the histories and autobiographies, and we can learn things, and that increases our knowledge. And then there's actually experience from the standpoint of really combining what we've experienced and what we've read, and going out and trying to make a change and experiencing the creation of Allah coming back at us and explaining and kind of communicating to us the realities that are sometimes hidden. Um, and that includes learning from others' experiences and things like that. So I've always been amazed at the fact that the more I read and listen to others, that there's how many dark spaces and understanding one can have. So it's important to know that your demographic, and really I hate to use that word demographic, but your experience in life is yours, and you have to be ready to appreciate the experience in the life of someone else who may not come from your background. And this is something I think that maybe highlighted in when I think, especially when I think about like the Native Americans and scurvy, and how many people and when we first came to the United States, I won't say we, but when the early colonizers came to the U.S., and I would like to get the dates right, but they came and there were many were suffering from scurvy, you know, which they didn't know at the time was vitamin C deficiency, um, but they suffered from scurvy, and there were many deaths from scurvy up until I want to say maybe the late 17th century, early 18th century. But the Native Americans, some 100 years before that, had showed them a cure for scurvy. Uh, and they didn't take it because they felt that they were inferior. They were inferior people, and so they didn't take that cure. And that's a well-known historical reality. And you just see how arrogance can, if you come from a place of complexity, what you think is complex, and you take that and you see someone that you believe is inferior to you, uh, and you refuse to take their advice, and you refuse to take their knowledge because you think that they're inferior, then you will be the one that will lose out in the end. They'll be okay, and I see men destroy natural systems around them that support their life on a consistent basis. One thing I've noticed constantly when living here in the U.S. is that we will destroy all our natural resources. We will liquidate everything rather than live on it in perpetuity. We'll liquidate the forest to build a mall. You know, to build up our life. So we can go to more shopping malls and eat more food and hamburgers. And this is something that it's been talked about. You can see it in movies, even going back to the 80s and 90s, about just the consumerism. It's a consistent reality that we'll liquidate planet Earth to live for, as a metaphor, for 20 years. But we could live in perpetuity if we just stop liquidating everything. But we're obsessed with money in the bank. We're obsessed with transactions and kind of this fleeting. And this is what God talks about when He says that we love the fleeting life, and we put away the life of the hereafter. And we love the things that don't bring us real benefit, and we dislike those things which are more better and more lasting. And if you look at it, it can destroy us, and it will destroy us if we don't learn how to put those things in check.